when the galaxy stood still and the aliens began to dream of Earth. For millions of years, the galaxy had moved in rhythm, stars spinning in their endless waltz, planets orbiting with purpose, comets slicing through the dark like silent messengers. Everything had a pattern, a harmony older than time itself. But one day it stopped. It was not an explosion, not a disaster, not even silence. It was something far stranger. The galaxy simply stood still. Stars froze in their burning glow, light stopped mid-journey, and the great cosmic currents of energy paused like a held breath. Across countless systems, civilizations, both known and unknown, stared into the void, confused and terrified. On the distant world of Virellia, a planet of endless silver oceans and crystal mountains, an alien scientist named Thalen was the first to notice the change. His species, the Aelari, were beings of luminous energy wrapped in fragile forms of matter. They did not age as humans did. They existed in cycles of consciousness and starlight. Thalen stood in his observatory, gazing through a transparent dome that looked upon the heart of the galaxy. "It is as if the stars themselves are holding their breath," he whispered, his voice echoing in the hollow chamber. His assistant, a younger Aelari named Sira, adjusted a glowing instrument that measured cosmic vibrations. The readings were flat. "The core waves are no longer moving. Time's pulse has gone silent." Thalen's eyes dimmed with disbelief. "Impossible. The galactic core has never ceased. Not since the first light." Elsewhere, on planets scattered across the galaxy, in the cold nebulous cities of the Varn, the underwater temples of the Tidrian, the sky towers of the Aelari, the same discovery spread. Energy signatures vanished. Orbiting systems froze. Even the flow of quantum light between worlds was halted. No ships moved. No transmissions crossed the void. The galaxy had become a statue of light, caught between seconds. And then, amid the stillness, something new began. Dreams. Not of their own kind. Not of their worlds or histories, but of Earth. Thalen was the first to dream. It came to him as he sat beneath the frozen stars, his mind reaching out in confusion. In the dream, he walked on soil, real soil, not the luminous dust of Aelari worlds. He saw trees, rivers, mountains that breathed mist into the morning air. And in the sky above him, a blue sphere of peace, the same world that once appeared in ancient data archives from the far reaches of galactic memory. He saw humans. They laughed, they cried, they built fires and sang beneath the stars. They looked up, not with fear or calculation, but with wonder. When Thalen woke, his energy form flickered with confusion. "I have seen it," he said softly. "The lost world, Earth." Sira frowned. "The human world? But that planet was destroyed eons ago. The ancient records say it vanished when the solar flame collapsed." Thalen nodded slowly. "Yet I saw it, as if it were alive. The humans were dreaming too. Or perhaps we are dreaming of each other." Far away, in another system, the Varnian Oracle, a crystalline being suspended in liquid metal, experienced the same vision. She spoke to her disciples in tones that shimmered like bells underwater. "The stillness brings memory. We see the world that sang the first song, the world called Earth. And on hundreds of worlds, alien beings, reptilian, metallic, gaseous, luminous, all began to dream the same dream. A blue planet, oceans, winds, humanity." It was as if, when the galaxy froze, something deeper connected them all, a shared echo of a place none had visited, but all somehow remembered. In the great interstellar archives of the Celestium Council, a message began to awaken. It was old, stored in the vaults of forgotten knowledge. The file's name glowed faintly, Project Eden. The holographic record flickered on. A human face appeared, pale, tired, but smiling. "If you're seeing this," the voice said, "it means the stars have stopped moving. That was expected. It means the dream has begun." The aliens gathered around the projection, stunned. Who was this being that spoke from the ashes of time? The message continued. We sent something into the heart of the galaxy, a pulse of consciousness, made from our memories, our hopes, our dreams. We called it the resonance of Earth. One day, when the galaxy grows still, it will awaken. And then, you will remember us. The recording ended. Thalen felt a tremor of energy flow through his form. The stillness wasn't a death. It was an awakening. The next night, the dreams deepened. The aliens didn't just see Earth anymore, they felt it. They walked its fields, heard its rain, smelled its oceans. Some wept in their sleep. Others awoke changed. The stillness no longer frightened them. Sarah whispered, "They say we are dreaming their final memory." Thalen replied, "No, Sarah. We are living their dream. Perhaps they created it to keep their world alive within the galaxy's heart." In the frozen void, stars hung like thoughts waiting to be remembered. The galaxy stood still, but in the minds of its children, something ancient and beautiful had begun to stir. A memory older than time. A dream shared between souls and stars. And in that dream, Earth lived again. The stillness of the galaxy stretched on. Seconds refused to pass. Stars remained frozen in their glow, yet within the hearts and minds of countless beings, something alive was spreading like wildfire. The dream of Earth. Thalen, the Aelari scientist, could not rest. He stood beside the great crystal dome of his observatory, watching motionless constellations that had once guided his people through millennia. He whispered, "If time itself has stopped, then how do we still dream?" Sarah sat beside him, her luminous hands clasped around a sphere of soft light, a focus orb that translated thoughts into shapes. Inside it, an image of Earth flickered. "Because the dream is not bound by time," she said softly. "It exists somewhere beyond this stillness. Maybe within us." Thalen nodded. "Then it means the humans, their essence still lives." Across the void, other civilizations experienced the same wonder and fear. On the Varnian homeworld, priests gathered around floating temples made of crystal and fire. They chanted ancient hymns, words that had no meaning until now. From dust of Earth, the stars were born. The oracle of the Varn rose, her body glowing like molten glass. "We are remembering the mother world," she declared, "the one that dreamed the galaxy into being." Her followers trembled, some overcome by visions. They saw green forests and endless skies. They felt wind, something they had never known, and they cried out as if feeling life for the first time. Meanwhile, the Tidrian, aquatic beings who lived beneath sapphire seas, gathered in bioluminescent caverns. Their songs rippled through the water like waves of sorrow and wonder. Their leader, Eshra, spoke through the currents. "We have seen the surface world. We have seen light unbroken by water. We have seen humans, beings of air and laughter. Are we their children, carried across time?" No one answered, but the question echoed in every heart across the galaxy. Thalen began studying the strange dreams scientifically. Though the instruments were dead, unresponsive since the galaxy froze, his consciousness found new patterns within the dream itself. Each night, he saw fragments of places and people. A child playing near an ocean. A woman riding under the stars. A city glowing with lights, reaching toward the heavens. He began mapping these visions, noting every repeated symbol and shape. The continents of Earth appeared within his mind, perfectly detailed. Sarah watched, amazed. "You are remembering a world you've never seen." Thalen looked up. Perhaps the memory was placed within us long ago. What if every star species carries a seed, a memory of where life began? He searched through the Celestium archives for the message again, the recording of the human scientist who had spoken about Project Eden. Replaying the hologram, Thalen focused on the last few words. The human voice said, "When the galaxy ceases to move, when even the light forgets its path, the dream will awaken in those who came after us. You are our legacy. Through you, Earth will remember itself." Thalen's light pulsed. "You hear that, Sarah? We are their continuation. We are fragments of what humanity left behind." Sarah's form dimmed with awe. Then we are their dream made real. Across the still galaxy, communication began again, not through machines, but through dreams. Civilizations that had never spoken to each other before now shared one language, the Earth Dream. No ships moved. No radio waves transmitted. Yet every sleeping mind became a messenger. The Aelari, a race of beings made of metal and light, reported the same vision, a blue sky filled with birds. The Renari, who lived among the frozen moons, dreamed of rain and thunder. The Velith, who had never seen organic life, described flowers blooming in impossible colors. Every dream was a piece of the same world, the same memory. Soon, the alien scholars and thinkers began to gather through psychic communion, their minds meeting in a vast dream realm shaped like a reflection of the Milky Way itself. In this dream space, Thalen saw others, shimmering forms of different species, yet all glowing with the same light. "We are the echoes," he said, "the children of Earth's dream." A deep voice, belonging to the metallic Aelari, replied, "If that is true, then what caused this stillness? Why did the galaxy stop?" Thalen looked at the silent stars above them. Perhaps because the dream reached its limit. The galaxy needed to remember its beginning before it could move forward again. The gathering fell silent. Then, from somewhere within the dream realm, an image appeared, a single blue sphere, floating amid the cosmic dark. The voice of a human from Project Eden echoed once more. "When you are ready to remember, return to the source. The coordinates are written in your stars." And with that, the vision faded. Sira turned to Thalen, her light trembling. "He means we must find Earth." Thalen nodded. "Yes. But how do we travel when time has stopped?" He closed his eyes, focusing on the fragments of dream. Slowly, he began to realize that space itself, the distance between stars, had become meaningless in this stillness. The galaxy wasn't truly frozen. It was suspended, like a dream waiting for its next thought. "If this is a dream shared by all," he whispered, "then we can travel within it. We can reach Earth not by ship, but by memory." Sarah's form brightened. "You mean through the dream itself?" "Yes. If the humans created this resonance, then their memory connects us all. Somewhere within that dream, Earth still exists." That night, Thalen and Sarah lay beneath the unmoving stars, their forms glowing faintly against the darkness. They let the dream take them deeper, past oceans, past cities, past the stars themselves, until they stood on a shoreline unlike anything they had ever seen. Blue waves rolled gently onto golden sand. Above them, clouds drifted slowly across a sky painted in colors beyond imagination. "This," Sarah whispered, kneeling to touch the sand. "This is it. This is Earth." Thalen gazed out across the sea, where the horizon shimmered like light breaking through eternity. "We found it," he said softly. "Not in space, but within the dream." Behind them, unseen and waiting, shadows began to move across the dreamscape, shapes not of humans, not of aliens, but of something ancient that had been sleeping alongside the memory of Earth. Something that had once been alive when the first stars were born. Something that had been waiting for the galaxy to stand still. The dream of Earth grew stronger. What had once been faint images and feelings now became entire worlds that breathed and changed. The frozen galaxy remained motionless, but within the minds of its children, life moved again. Thalen and Sira stood on a shore that stretched endlessly beneath a blue sky. The air was soft, carrying the scent of salt and rain. Waves crashed in gentle rhythm, and birds circled high above, singing songs that neither of them could name. "This world feels alive," Sira whispered, running her luminous hands through the golden sand. "Every grain feels like a memory." Thalen nodded, his form flickering with wonder. "It's more than a memory. It's real, but not in the way we understand reality. This is the consciousness of Earth itself, preserved in the dream the humans left behind." He knelt, touching the water. The ripples spread outward, glowing faintly. "This ocean, it reacts to us. It knows we're here." They began to walk inland, through fields of tall grass that shimmered in the sunlight. The land was empty, no cities, no ruins, no signs of life, yet everything pulsed with presence. It was as though Earth had become a living dream, aware of those who walked within it. As they moved, the horizon began to shift. Mountains rose where moments ago there had been none. Rivers curved and reformed. The dream was shaping itself around their thoughts. Sira stopped suddenly. "Thalen, do you feel that?" He paused, sensing a deep vibration in the air, like a heartbeat echoing through the ground. It wasn't sound, it was memory. "It's calling to us," he said softly. The sky darkened. Clouds gathered, heavy and bright, with electric blue light. From within them came distant voices, human voices, overlapping in countless tones and emotions. Children laughing, people praying, whispers of love, grief, and hope. The sounds poured across the sky like rain. Thalen and Sira stood still, overwhelmed. "These are the voices of the humans," Sira said in awe. "They're still here, not as bodies, but as echoes." Thalen looked upward. Maybe this is what they meant by the resonance of Earth. They preserved their essence in the stars. And now, through us, they remember. Suddenly, a figure began to form from the light. A human, tall, glowing faintly, his outline flickering between dream and reality. His eyes were calm, filled with distant sadness. "Welcome," the figure said. His voice was soft, like wind moving through trees. "You've come far." Thalen stepped forward. "Are you human?" The figure smiled.
"Once.
"Now, I am part of what remains. I am the Dreamkeeper." Sira lowered her head. "We've seen your message, Project Eden. You said this would happen when the galaxy stood still." The Dreamkeeper nodded.
Yes.
"The stillness is the final stage. It means the great pulse of creation has reached its balance. Everything that was born from Earth, every life, every star, every consciousness, has paused to remember where it began." Thalen's light flickered uncertainly. But why? Why stop the galaxy? Why make all life dream? The Dreamkeeper turned toward the horizon. Because the universe was forgetting. The stars were drifting too far apart, not in distance, but in meaning. Life had lost its memory of unity. Humanity knew this would happen, so before we vanished, we built the Dream Resonance, a seed of consciousness placed in the heart of the galaxy. When time itself slowed, it would awaken all who came after us, binding them in one dream. Sira looked around, wide-eyed. "So we're not just remembering Earth. We are part of its design." "Yes," said the Dreamkeeper. "You are all fragments of Earth's longing to exist." When humans looked to the stars, they wished not to die. They wished to continue. That wish became life. You and all who dream now are that continuation. Thalen felt the truth vibrate through his being. Every civilization, every alien race, all connected, all born from one ancient spark. "We are the galaxy's memory of Earth," he whispered. The Dreamkeeper's gaze grew distant. "But remember, every dream has its shadow. For the light of creation cannot exist without what lies beneath it." As he spoke, the sky behind him darkened. The blue clouds began to twist into shapes, faces, figures, swirling in silent rage. Sira took a step back. "What is that?" "The forgotten," the Dreamkeeper said quietly. "The remnants of fear, anger, and destruction. The parts of humanity that could not let go. When Earth was destroyed, not all dreams were peaceful. Some became echoes of despair. Now they stir again." A cold wind swept across the land. The shadows began to descend, tall, shapeless beings that moved like smoke and glass. Their forms whispered with thousands of broken voices. Thalen reached for Sira. "Stay close." The Dreamkeeper raised his hand, light radiating from his form. "Do not fear them," he said. "They are the other side of remembrance. You cannot awaken the dream without facing what was forgotten." The shadows circled them, whispering in human tongues. Words of regret, of wars, of lost time. Sira trembled. "They're showing us their pain." Thalen closed his eyes, letting the images flood his mind. Great cities burning, oceans rising, skies torn by fire. The end of Earth. The humans' final moments. He whispered, "This is how it ended." When the vision passed, silence returned. The shadows faded, drawn back into the clouds. The Dreamkeeper's form dimmed, almost fading. "This is why the galaxy stood still," he said softly, "so that all who came after could remember not only the beauty of Earth, but its sorrow. Only through remembrance can motion begin again." Thalen bowed his head. "What must we do?" The Dreamkeeper looked at him, his eyes glowing with light. "Find the heart of the dream. It lies at the center of this world, the point where all memory begins. When you reach it, you will understand what it means to awaken the galaxy." He began to fade, his form turning to dust and starlight. "But beware, the shadows do not wish to be forgotten. They will follow you." Then he was gone. Syrah stood silently, the wind moving through her luminous hair. "The heart of the dream," she whispered. "Do you think it's real?" Thalen nodded slowly. "If this world exists, then so does its heart. And if we can find it, maybe we can bring balance back to the galaxy." They looked toward the horizon, where the clouds were clearing. In the distance, faint mountains shimmered like silver. Beyond them, a faint glow pulsed in rhythm, like a heartbeat calling them forward. "The heart," Thalen said softly. "It's waiting." The two began their journey across the shifting lands of Dream Earth, unaware that, far beyond the dream, across the still galaxy, other beings were awakening too. The Varnian Oracle, the Tidrian Singer, the metallic Aelari, and countless others began to walk the same paths in their shared visions. Each was being drawn toward the same place, the heart of the dream. And somewhere deep within the void, beyond even the dream itself, something vast and silent stirred, watching. The journey toward the heart of the dream began beneath an unmoving sun. Thalen and Syrah walked through vast plains that shifted like living light. The ground beneath their feet pulsed with memories, flashes of faces, laughter, and sorrow. Every step carried a whisper from the past, every breeze a memory of Earth. As they moved, the landscape changed as if remembering itself. Mountains grew and faded in the distance, rivers curved into new paths, and stars appeared in the daylight sky. The dream was alive, reshaping itself to guide them forward. Syrah touched a nearby tree, its bark warm with light. "This world feels like it's trying to speak," she said softly. "Every leaf holds a memory." Thalen nodded. "It's the echo of human consciousness. Their minds created this place when their bodies vanished. The closer we get to the heart, the stronger their presence becomes." As they journeyed, they found others. The first were the Varn, crystalline beings who shimmered like frozen fire. Their leader, Oracle Lethra, recognized Thalen immediately through the dream connection. "We heard the call," she said, her voice vibrating like chimes. "We too saw the blue world in our sleep. It summoned us here." Then came Eshra, the ocean-born Tidrian, her translucent body glowing faintly as she glided upon waves of mist. "We followed the pulse in our waters," she said. "Every current led to this place." Behind them, the towering Kale arrived, beings of living metal, their bodies glowing with blue patterns like circuitry. The leader, Corin, bowed slightly. "The stillness has held us too long. If the heart restores motion, we will stand with you." Thalen felt awe as he looked upon them. Beings from distant corners of the galaxy, now united in one dream, bound by one purpose. The group traveled together, following the rhythmic pulse that echoed through the land. The dream world shifted around them, forests turning to deserts, seas rising and vanishing, skies rippling like liquid glass. The further they went, the clearer Earth's memories became. They saw the ruins of human cities, towers half-sunken in sand, covered in flowers and vines that glowed faintly with starlight. Syrah touched a piece of crumbled stone. Strange symbols carved by human hands were still visible. "This is real," she whispered. "Not just a dream, a record." Thalen traced the marks. "These are human words. I can't read them, but they feel like hope. Corin, the metallic Aelari, raised his hand. Perhaps this is the true Earth, a place built of memory, but shaped by those who still remember. As they camped by a glowing river that reflected constellations, Oracle Ethra spoke in her resonant voice. If all of us are fragments of Earth's memory, then who created the shadows we saw before? Thalen looked toward the dark horizon. The Dreamkeeper said they are what humanity left behind, their fears, their mistakes, their regrets, the parts of their soul they couldn't let go of. Eshra's form rippled with unease. And now they follow us. As if summoned by her words, a chill swept through the air. The river dimmed. The stars reflected on its surface flickered and vanished. The shadows returned. They came silently, shapes made of smoke and light, whispering with countless voices. Each whisper was a human thought, a fragment of guilt or sorrow. We failed. We destroyed what we loved. We wanted to live forever. The air trembled with their grief. The aliens stepped back, their forms dimming. Sarah whispered, "They're not attacking. They're remembering too." Thalen closed his eyes, feeling the pain radiate through him. They're the other half of the dream, the sorrow that keeps it whole. He stepped forward, raising his luminous hand. "We do not come to destroy you," he said. "We come to understand." For a moment, the shadows paused. Then one stepped forward, larger, darker than the rest. Its form shifted, revealing flashes of human faces, men, women, children, all fading and reappearing within it. It spoke in 1,000 voices at once. "You remember the beauty, but not the cost. You walk our dream, but you do not carry our burden." Thalen's voice trembled. "Then show us. Let us see what you remember." The world around them dissolved into darkness. They stood within a vision, Earth, burning beneath a dying sun. Cities crumbled, oceans boiled, and the skies filled with smoke. Humanity fled to the stars, desperate to survive. "We tried to save ourselves," the shadows whispered. "We built ships, machines, worlds of metal. But in our quest to live forever, we forgot what life meant. So we created this, the dream resonance, to keep our essence alive when all else was gone." Sarah watched as the vision showed the last humans uploading their minds into a vast machine at the galactic core. "They became energy," she said in awe. "Yes," the shadows answered. "And we became what was left behind, the memory of loss." The vision faded. They were back by the river, the shadows retreating into the darkness. Thalen felt a deep sadness. "You are the truth humanity wanted us to remember. Without you, we can't understand who they really were." The shadow's voice softened. "Then carry both, the dream and the sorrow. Only then can you reach the heart." With that, the darkness lifted, and the stars above them shone once more. 4 days, or what felt like days within the timeless dream, the travelers continued. The pulse of the heart grew louder, like the beat of a cosmic drum guiding them home. Finally, they reached a valley surrounded by mountains of silver and glass. At its center was a sphere of pure light, floating above the ground. It pulsed slowly, each beat sending waves of color through the air. "The heart of the dream," Sarah breathed. All of them, Aelari, Varn, Aelari, and Tidrian, gathered around the sphere. Its light reflected their forms, merging colors, shapes, and essences until they seemed one being. Thalen stepped closer. "This is it, the core of everything, the point where all memory converges." He reached out his hand. The surface rippled like water and began to sing. It was not music made of sound, but of thought, the combined memories of humanity woven into a single living chord. The Dreamkeeper's voice returned, faint but clear. "You have done what was written. To awaken the galaxy, the heart must be understood, not owned. Each of you must share what your species has learned, your light, your sorrow, your truth. Only then can the stillness end." The aliens joined hands, light touching metal, crystal, and water. The heart brightened, growing with every memory they shared. The Varn sang of knowledge and unity. The Aelari shared the wisdom of creation through machines. The Tidrian gave the memory of harmony with nature. And Thalen, speaking for the Aelari, offered the essence of longing, the desire to understand where all things began. As they did, the heart blazed with light so intense it filled the sky. The ground trembled. The dream world rippled as if awakening from sleep. Sira cried out, "Thalen, look!" Above them, stars began to move again. The galaxy, once frozen, was stirring. The great dance of light had begun once more. But as the light reached its peak, Thalen saw something deeper within the heart, a final vision. A human woman sitting beneath a dying sun, speaking softly to an unseen listener. "If you are still out there," she said, "remember that Earth was not perfect, but it was real. Dream of us kindly. Dream of us truly." Her image faded into the light. Thalen's form shimmered with tears of energy. "We remember," he whispered. "Always." The heart pulsed one last time, a wave of brilliance that swept across the entire galaxy, reawakening time itself. The stillness was over. As the dream began to fade, Thalen turned to Sira. "Do you feel it? The stars are moving again." She smiled, her form radiant.
Yes.
"We did it. The galaxy remembers." The dream dissolved into starlight, and the travelers found themselves back in their worlds, surrounded by motion and life once more. But deep within their minds, the dream of Earth still lingered, soft, eternal, alive. The stars began to move again. Slowly at first, a faint shimmer, a subtle hum. Then, with growing rhythm, the great spiral arms of the Milky Way resumed their eternal dance. Planets turned once more, comets resumed their paths, and suns flared with newborn brilliance. The stillness that had held the galaxy for countless ages dissolved like a dream at dawn. But within every heart, in every species scattered across the stars, something had changed. They remembered. On Virellia, Thalen awoke beneath the same transparent dome of his observatory where it had all begun. The galaxy glittered in motion above him, living, spinning, singing again. Yet the dream of Earth still glowed faintly within his consciousness. Sira was there beside him, her luminous eyes soft. "It's moving again," she whispered. "The stars are alive." Thalen rose slowly, his form flickering in the gentle light.
Yes.
"The stillness has ended. But we are not the same." He looked at his instruments. They were active once more, data flowing like rivers of light. But the numbers, the coordinates, the equations, they all seemed meaningless now compared to what he had seen. "Before," Thalen said quietly, "we studied the stars to understand their structure. Now I think we must learn their stories." Messages began to flow between worlds again, across frequencies that had been silent for an age. But these were not messages of trade or conquest. They were words of unity. The Varn sent transmissions of crystal light that carried songs about Earth's forests and oceans. The Tidrian composed hymns of water, singing of the human rain and sky. The Aelari, once cold and mechanical, painted entire constellations with light patterns that formed the word, home. Across the galaxy, civilizations that had never spoken before now shared one vision, to honor the memory of Earth, the cradle of all dreams. Thalen gathered representatives from 100 worlds in a great assembly, the first in galactic history where beings of light, water, crystal, and metal stood side by side. The meeting took place on Virellia, beneath the same starlit dome where the stillness had been discovered. Thalen began. "We all dreamed of the same world, a blue sphere that lived within us. That world was not merely a planet. It was the heart of life itself." Oracle Lethra of the Varn stepped forward, her crystalline body glowing like dawn. "We felt its sorrow and its beauty. We saw what the humans became. They gave us their memory so that we could continue their dream." Corin, the metallic Aelari, added, "They created the resonance not to control the galaxy, but to remind it of what it means to feel." Eshra of the Tidrian sang softly, her voice like rippling water. "Earth still breathes within us. Every ocean carries its reflection. Thalen smiled. Then let us remember Earth not as something lost, but as something reborn within us all. The assembly decided to build something, not a monument, not a machine, but a living memory. They called it the Luminous Archive, a place where every species would contribute a fragment of their consciousness, songs, dreams, images, feelings, all interwoven into a vast field of energy orbiting the galactic core. The archive would not hold data. It would hold emotion, the living essence of what it meant to exist. And at its center, they placed a single phrase, written in the ancient language of Earth. We remember, therefore we live. Years passed, though time now felt softer, more meaningful. The galaxy flourished. War became rare. Curiosity replaced conquest. Science was no longer separate from spirit, and exploration became an act of remembrance. The dream resonance still lingered in quiet corners of the mind. Some nights, beings of every kind closed their eyes and found themselves once again standing on the shores of Dream Earth, under blue skies and gentle winds. Thalen often returned there in meditation. The dream world had grown quieter, at peace. The shadows no longer haunted it. The heart of the dream glowed steadily, pulsing like a heartbeat that matched the rhythm of the galaxy itself. Syrah joined him one night in the dream. The sea stretched endlessly, silver under starlight. "Do you think the humans know?" she asked softly. Thalen smiled faintly. "I think, wherever they are, beyond time, beyond form, they feel it. They know their dream survived." Syrah looked toward the horizon, where the first light of dawn began to rise. "Do you think Earth will ever return? Not as a memory, but as a world." Thalen was silent for a long time. "Perhaps it already has. Every world that remembers it, every being that dreams of it, together, we rebuild it in our hearts. Earth is not gone, Syrah. It became the galaxy." Beyond them, the dream shimmered. The image of the blue planet appeared in the sky, bright and whole. Oceans gleamed, clouds drifted peacefully, and in that light, countless stars were reflected, the faces of all who remembered. The Dreamkeeper's voice echoed faintly once more. "When the galaxy stood still, you remembered what it means to live. Now that it moves again, do not forget what it means to dream." The image faded, leaving behind a gentle wave of warmth, a final farewell, or perhaps a promise. In the waking world, Thalen stood beneath the moving stars of Virellia. The observatory lights dimmed, and he opened the dome to the night sky. The stars were in motion again, each one shining with renewed brilliance. He whispered, "You are not alone anymore." For somewhere, across millions of worlds, countless beings looked up at those same stars, and in their hearts, they felt the same connection. The galaxy was no longer just a collection of worlds. It had become a memory shared among souls. A living dream, born from the echoes of one small planet that refused to be forgotten. And so, when the galaxy stood still, life remembered where it began. When the galaxy awoke, it learned why it must keep dreaming. The stars turned once more, carrying the dream of Earth with them, forever written in the light between worlds.